one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. Because without that vision and without that goal, again, you're drifting around and you're never gonna end up anywhere. People don't become successful just by accident. You know, I mean, maybe the guy that found gold in California and started the gold rush, but don't count on that. That's the one in a lifetime kind of a situation. So you got to really have a specific goal. And to me, to have that vision that I want to be Mr. Universe, that I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, that was a great vision, and that specifically to look like Reg Park and to be up there on that stage and to lift the trophy overhead and to win the championship over and over and over again. So that was a great goal. You have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about, why do you want to work out? What is your goal? And then it can't be as crazy as it is. It could be, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it. If you have a very clear vision where you want to go, and if you're willing to put the work in, no matter what it takes to get them to turn this vision into reality, we can accomplish basically anything you want.
So I never listened that you can't. I always listened to myself and said, yes, you can.
Because in the end, the will conquer all. That's the bottom line. Imagine the majority of people don't know where they're going. I knew where I was going. That I'm going to become this bodybuilding champion just like him. So it was just a question of, how do you do it? I was so relieved. Because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. Because remember that in America, for instance, when you study, you will see the percentage of people that like their jobs. 74% hate their job in America. Now, this is not much different when you come to Europe. The majority of people don't like what they're doing because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job. I felt so great knowing where I was going, and I tell you, it worked. I mean, think about it. And I was just not visualizing just my exercise, but I was really lifting the trophy over my head. That's what I was thinking about. And with the age of 20, I went to London and I won the Mr. Universe contest as the youngest Mr. Universe ever. And it was because I had a goal. I looked forward to doing more and more curls until my arms fall off. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality. Because I remember that when I weighed 245 pounds, and Bob Rafelson, the director of Stay Hungry, said to me that I'm interested in having you come in for a reading and work on your acting and all this because I'm interested in having you in a movie. And then he said, but I don't want you to weigh more than 210 pounds. So I said to him, well, it's funny you come to me and you want me to be in a movie, but I'm weighing 245, 246. I say, I just won the Olympia, I say, which was 1974, and I was really at my biggest. On the day we start shooting, he says, I'm gonna put you on a scale. And if you don't make the 210, you're out. Because I have someone else in mind. And I worked on it. I started visualizing myself very clearly as a lean athlete. Because that's the only way I could lose that weight and all of a sudden get interested in running more. Because up until that point, I ran like 3 miles after training or before training or whatever. But now all of a sudden it was 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles. And they even ran mini marathons in order to lose the weight. And I did everything with high reps. And I was watching my diet, what I eat and all those kind of things. But the day before, I remember we were in Birmingham, Alabama. The day before I was at the YMCA with Bob Rafelson. He says, let's step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and I weighed 209. So it just shows you what is possible if you visualize exactly what you want to look like, so it can go one way, which is like you can lose weight and get trim and get slim and everything, get the abs out, or you go the other way and you gain weight because you see yourself big and you see yourself as a winner of a Mr. Olympia or something like that. And you can, and also you have to feel it. The key thing is that you visualize it, but you have to feel the muscles. That's the key thing, because then they grow. Because that is our only way that you really can push beyond. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the naysayers. I remember when I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion, including my parents and everyone else around me, said this is impossible. You can't be a bodybuilding champion. That is exactly what I heard, and of course I proved to the people that it can't be done. So whenever someone said to me, it can't be done, I heard it can be done. When they said no, I heard yes. And when they said it's impossible, I heard it is possible. Because I am a strong believer. I'm a strong believer of what Nelson Mandela said, that everything is always impossible until someone does it. Well, I'm going to be the one, I said to myself, I'm going to do it and I'm going to show it to them. Maybe it has never been done before. That's perfectly fine with me. But I'm going to do it. And I did not listen to the naysayers. It could be that you're emulating a certain, bodybuilder or a certain football player, a certain boxer, whatever it is. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. I put pictures of Reg Park and of Sonny Liston, of boxers and of Ali and of powerlifters and weightlifters all over my bedroom, wall, so that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing.
You're a competitive athlete. You learn very quickly how strong you are or how energetic you are, all of those things. But it could very well be that there's a lot of people who have an equally as good a body as you have, that performs just as well, that is as muscular, let's say in bodybuilding, there's exactly the same kind of, proportions in all of those things. So the question really is what puts you over the top? It is the mind that really creates the body. It's the mind that makes you really work out the 4 or 5 hours a day. It is the mind that visualizes of what the body ought to look like as the finished product. I would always ask people, why do you want to be a champion? Or what do you want to accomplish? Why are you training? And they will, if a guy will get up and he will say, well, I want to train because I think that if I get muscular and, I feel like I'm getting the kind of definition, then I maybe can enter a bodybuilding competition. I said, sit down. I said, if you think this way, you're going to be a loser. You're never going to make it because there's no maybe. You got to get up and say, I want to be a champion. And I do whatever it takes, the amount of hours it takes, the posing, the this, the that, the visualization, looking at training footage, looking at motivational books, reading this, reading, whatever it takes, I would do. That's the answer I want to hear from you. You can detect right away those that are going to be shaky and that will fall behind and they will not go all the way, and those that are very hungry. And that hunger you have to develop because you have to create a goal for yourself, whatever that may be, a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and you got to go after that. And if you do not see it, and if you do not believe it, who else will? The body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body. You have to visualize what that body ought to look like in order to make it win, because that's what creates then the will that you need to go to the gym every day. The will that makes you go into the 4 reps, the will that makes you go beyond when you do your 500-pound reps in the squats and you can't do another rep and your body is shaking. It's the will that makes you go one more time down and struggle up one more time. And so it's all of this, so the mental aspect that motivates you and that makes the difference between you being in the gym full of joy and looking forward to doing that extra rep and looking forward to doing those extra 100 reps in the sit-ups and working past the pain barriers. That all is the mind. That's not the body. So this is why I think the body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body.
Dream.
Dream.
Dream. I was poor.
because I didn't have anything. I had no money, I had no things, we had no TV, we had no refrigerator, we had nothing as kids, but I was rich because I had a dream.